This is our Welcome to the Real World Intro to Real Numbers practice set. As always, pause the video to work these problems, then come back to check your answers. So the first set of problems here ask you to graph the following pairs of numbers on the number line and then determine which is the greater number. And this may seem like a trivial exercise, and if it does, that's great, because this is a really, really important skill, and knowing how to do this can come in handy in so many places. So looking at this, I have the numbers 0 and 3. And so you can make your number line go longer than that if you want, but I typically will keep my number lines to a minimum. And so I'll put a dot here at the 0 and a dot here at the 3. And then I can answer that question two different ways. I can say 3 is greater than 0, or I could say 0 is less than 3. Those would be equivalent statements. If that throws you a little bit, please see my video on inequalities to help that make sense for you. Now, where these problems can get tricky is when you have multiple negative numbers. So this one here, we have -1 and -4. So I'm going to put my 0 here, and then -1, -2, 3, and -4. And we'll put a dot here at the -4 and a dot here at the -1. And when you look at this, remember that the number to the right is always greater than the number to the left, like always, no matter where they're situated on the number line. So we could say -1 is greater than -4, or you could say -4 is less than -1. Either of those statements would be correct, just always follow the directions. And it's a really, really common mistake for students to see like the 1 and the 4 and then to get that backwards. So being able to see it on the number line is definitely a help. And the last one, we have -2 and 0. So I'll go ahead and numbers on my number line. Now, if your number lines don't look like this, like you started and stopped them at different spots, that's totally fine. There's nothing right or wrong about that at all. So we have -2 and 0. So we could say 0 is greater than -2, or -2 is less than 0. Either one of those statements would be fine. Just it's whichever way you want to read the problem. All right, so write in increasing order, and I just had a very strange snafu with the recording on this, so I'm hoping that it's a smooth recording, and I still see a green dot there, so I'm not entirely sure what happened, but we're just gonna go on. So write in increasing order. So the best way to do this really is to graph it out, and that might seem like a lot of extra work, and it's okay if it does, but I'm still going to tell you that you should do it, because what graphing it out and the physical act of writing this will do is will help you create what's called a mental model of how numbers are related to each other. So let's go ahead and do this. So we'll put a dot here at the 4. And now -1/3, okay? This is where I had that straight out from before. If you think about +1/3, +1/3 is less than 1. It would be like 1/3 of the way here. So -1/3 would be the same distance away, just on the other side. So it would be like 1/3 of the way between the 0 and the 1, -1. We have a 0, so we're going to put a dot at the 0. Then we have -2/3, so that will be same kind of reasoning, 2/3 of the way between the 0 and the -1, moving a little bit further away. We have a dot down here at the -5, and a dot at 1/2. I was like on a friction kick when I wrote this, and 0.75, which would be 3/4 of the way, would be right about there. And so now to write them in increasing order, we would just read them from left to right. And so my leftmost number is the -5. Then I come over here, that was the -2/3, then -1/3, then the 0, then the 1/2, and the 0.75. So I just grabbed those two, and then we have the 4. And there is our list of numbers in increasing order. Right. Now, next set is just find the opposite. And basically what this is this is vocabulary practice. Okay. So if it seems like really simple, that's fine. It's vocabulary practice. And what will happen eventually if we go many, many lessons and we don't use the word opposite, we end up forgetting what it means. So the better we can drill that in now, the better it is for everybody. So remember that the opposite of a number is the one that's the same distance away, but on the other side of 0. So the first one is 7. The opposite of 7 would be -7. Looking at the -7/3. Now you'll notice this is a very bare minimum number line I'm doing. I'm not putting all the integers on there. And in fact, with the -7/3, like I didn't put any of the integers. Well, I got the 0 there, but I'm only putting like a tick mark for the number that I'm actually interested in. And that's something that I personally do a lot just to make my number lines more functional for me. So the opposite of -7/3 would be the same distance away, but on the other side. So that would be 7/3. We have the -8. So same distance away on the other side would be 8. And last but not least, we have a 9. And so the opposite would be the same distance away, but on the other side. So the opposites here would be -7, 7/3, 8, and -9. You did not have to do a number line to do that, but it certainly doesn't hurt to look at a number line to help, again, create that mental model and visual model of how these numbers are related to each other. Problem 6 here, find the absolute value of each of the following. Now, again, this is vocabulary, really, although it is an operator. So we would say something like taking the absolute value. So we take the absolute value. It's something we do to a number. But what we're doing when we're finding the absolute value or taking the absolute value is we are finding how far away from 0 is it on the number line. And the absolute value of 0 is 0. So if you were to look at your number line here, you got 0. That is the number in question, is the 0. How far away is that from 0? 0. All right. Next one is -2.5. And so if we were to take like a ruler and measure the distance from the -2.5 to the 0, we would find that that is 2.5 units. Okay, we can call them centimeters, inches. You want to make this as concrete as possible. That, so it would be 2.5. And then over here on the other side, the absolute value of 3.75, if we go find that on the number line and we take out our ruler and we measure how far away it is, it would be 3.75 units away. I do see common mistakes with my own students with absolute value where somewhere in their heads they've gotten it stuck like, oh, absolute value is the opposite of, and that is not what it is. So it is the distance from 0 on the number line, and that knowing that definition can come in immensely helpful as soon as you're solving equations that have like a variable inside the absolute value. Last problem, it is 20 degrees out before bed. Okay, so outside it's 20 degrees, burr. Okay, crank the heat up. The temperature drops 25 degrees overnight. So burr, double burr. Okay, this is why I don't live where I used to live anymore. What is the temperature when you get up? So you can picture this on the number line, and this is very much going to relate to what we're heading into next. So let's count by 2s. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and 20. So we're actually going to go locate the 20. There it is. All right. And then overnight, so -2, -4, -6, it is going to drop by 25 degrees. So drop means we're going to move left on that number line. So here we go, dropping. Okay, we've dropped 10 degrees. Now we've dropped 20 degrees, and we're supposed to drop 25. So here's, we dropped 22. And there we dropped 24, and here's 25 right there. And that is going to put us, so this is our drop 25 degrees. And where does that put us? That put us at -5 degrees. So it puts us right there. And again, this really leads into what we're going to do with our positive and negative numbers, and being able to picture that on the number line is immensely helpful. So hopefully this helped you. If you did find it helpful, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. And if there are videos that you would like to see me make on specific topics, please drop a comment and let me know what that is.